Welcome to the ReaderHouse Author Roundtable, where authors from all walks of life come together to discuss the trials, tribulations, and triumphs of publishing their books. I'm your host, Corey Graham. Join us here every Friday night at 8 p.m. or listen anytime via podcast at Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, and PodServe, to name just a few. The Author Roundtable is sponsored by ReaderHouse Online Bookstore, where the independent new authors come first. The book I'm looking at right now is a thought-provoking discussion on faith and God's role in one's journey through life. It's written by Cheri Beal, and it's titled, Life's Purpose, Is It Fact or Fiction? And we're going to be talking all about it right now here at the ReaderHouse Author Roundtable. The author, Cheri, is right here with me. Cheri, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here tonight.
Yes, thank you.
Cheri, can you tell me all about what you've written in Life's Purpose?
Well, long ago, about 11 years ago, I started searching some things, and I have a site on Facebook called Cause of Truth and Righteousness, and a man started asking me questions, and I would answer them, and over a course of months, he said, you know what? You need to write a book. This is good stuff. And I thought, oh, I can't write a book. So I prayed about it, and I really didn't know how to start or what order or anything. And so I thought, I'm just going to start from the beginning. And so that was life before we came to this earth.
Cheri, what kinds of readers do you have in mind for it?
I have in mind people who have questions, maybe misunderstandings, and maybe searching for truth. And so I've included some things that might be helpful for one who's searching.
So have you ever done anything like this before when it comes to writing and publishing, or is this all kind of new for you?
It's very new to me. You know, I've written things before, but not to send out to the public by, publishing a book.
So once you got started on Life's Purpose, was this a long process overall, the writing and publishing and everything?
The publishing part has been very long. I started writing it, putting thoughts down 11 years ago, and then we had adopted 4 children that were structured and required a lot of attention because they had come from some really bad experiences in their homes. So I had to take a break, and then I think it was probably around August of 23. I thought, I need to finish that up. So I started, and I finished in April of 24 and sent it to Covenant Publishing in June of 24. And here we are today.
So once that finished product was there, you're holding the first copy of Life's Purpose in your hands, Cheri. What was that moment like for you? I
was excited about it. I had hoped that it would reach a lot of people that are searching, especially, the times that we live in now. People are questioning a lot of things, including faith, religion, and things like that.
And so now you are a published author. What would you say is the most rewarding aspect of this all for you?
Just people who have gotten the book and really enjoy reading it and told me how they feel about it.
So looking ahead, do you see yourself writing and publishing more down the road, do you think?
Probably not. I'm 80 years old. I might. I have started some thoughts that might end up becoming a book.
So we have a lot of people listening to us right now, and their author is also just starting out. So, Cheri, do you have some advice maybe that you could offer to them?
Not really. Just, if you believe in what you're doing, just stick to it. There can be bumps in the road, things that you might not be happy with. But if you are convinced about what you're doing and you feel it's a good thing, stick to it.
Well, obviously, your relationship with the Lord is a huge influence in your life. Who or what else inspires you in your life, especially when it comes to things like this?
People who have questions and are seeking answers. Like I said, I have a site on Facebook called Cause of Truth and Righteousness, and I deal with all kinds of people with questions. I deal with people who are against truth and against religion, and I just love the Lord, and I just want people to be able to know where to look and what to trust to find Him.
Well, it sounds like a lot of lives are going to be blessed by this book. Again, it's titled Life's Purpose. Is it fact or fiction? It's written by Cheri Beal and published by Covenant Books. So find it at places like Amazon, Barnes & Noble, iTunes, and traditional brick-and-mortar stores. Cheri, thank you again for coming on the show. It was really nice to talk with you.
Thank you, Corey. Have a great day.
Author Robert J. Bolton, Jr. has written a powerful story of a young girl's journey to overcome the obstacles in her life. The book is titled Blocking My View, Pushing Past People. And the author, Robert, is right here with me now at the ReaderHouse Author Roundtable. Robert, welcome. Thank you for joining me today.
Oh, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Robert, can you tell me what you've written about in Blocking My View?
Certainly. I've written about a young lady by the name of Amira. Her name actually has some meaning. So if you look up the name Amira, you will learn that her name means that she's sharp-witted, that she's smart, amongst other things. But sometimes her interactions with people do not necessarily align with her name. She's a young lady that has experienced a lot of letdowns and disappointments when dealing with people. It started in her own home. It all actually happened in the church, around religious people, and just different relationships. And there's a destiny that she has. Her life is marked with destiny. But the issue is that navigating people is a challenge for her. And this book really takes you through her story about how she navigated through people to get to her destiny. And there's a lot of great examples and great points in the book that are like aha moments to help people, navigate this life and navigate letdowns from people. Because we know that one thing that you have to live with people. You can get away from a lot of things, but people are not one of them. So we have to be able to live with them and be able to navigate the nuances of the different personalities.
Robert, what kinds of readers do you think this would connect with the most?
Well, this would definitely connect with younger people that have been through different trauma in their families, older people that have been through different traumas with their families, mother-daughter relationship, mother-father relationships. And it will also definitely cater to the Christian sector or those that have had involvement or interactions with people of faith. So it is a faith-based book, for sure.
What was your inspiration behind this? What gave you the idea to write it?
I realize that, one thing that people often are challenged with is encountering people that are religious. And there's a high expectation that is often placed on religious people, specifically Christians. And when those expectations are not met, it can end up derailing someone that may have been heading in that direction. And just a general, thought of people have dealt with challenges within their own family with, like I said, mother-daughter relationship, mother-father relationships, and different trauma that they've faced. And so over years, many have faced different challenges that have just made them have walls up in their lives where their relationships are not what they want them to be because they have lost trust or faith in people. And that is what really inspired me. This book is sort of a microcosm of so many people's story. And there's a lot of twists and turns in it, a lot of ways that people can relate to it in dealing with people and navigating people. And that's why the book is called Blocking My View, Pushing Past People.
Have you ever done anything like this before, or is this all kind of a new thing for you?
Oh, definitely. This is definitely a new thing for me. I do deal with people quite a bit. I'm a leader at work. I'm a CEO at work, and I'm also a pastor. I pastor a church, and I know a lot of people, and I talk to a lot of people. I'm not a therapist or anything like that, but I know what people deal with in life, especially being a pastor.
So once you got started writing this, clear up through the publishing process, was this a long journey for you overall?
It was a long journey because it took me quite a bit to write it. And I would say if anybody's looking to write a book, just keep writing. Don't stop writing no matter how long it takes you to get it done. Just keep on writing. And don't continue to go back and edit it and edit and edit because you'll never complete it. Just think of your story and just write through your story and just have a good time with it. But I think the main part and the main obstacle is really getting to the end of your story and then starting with the editing at that point and the publishing and everything else that would get it to the different bookstores.
Well, it sounds like this book is going to be a blessing for so many readers. Again, it's titled Blocking My View, Pushing Past People. It's written by Robert J. Bolton, Jr., published by Christian Faith Publishing, and available basically everywhere: Amazon, Barnes & Noble, iTunes, and traditional brick-and-mortar stores. Robert, it's been great talking with you tonight. Thanks again for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for the interview. Thank you for all the work that you're doing for writers. I appreciate it.
I'm holding the new book by author Myia Taylor. It's titled Trying to Make It Today. And we're going to talk all about it right now here at the ReaderHouse Author Roundtable. The author, Myia, is here with me. Myia, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here with me tonight.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Myia, can you tell me what you've written about in Trying to Make It Today?
Yes. The name of it is Trying to Make It Today. This is about a young woman who is trying to figure out her life on her journey. She is not financially stable, still very young, early 20s, and her journey that she goes through navigating real life from what she believes life should be and how to get there and bridge the gap along the way. She has good friends that are like sisters who influence her thoughts, and her family who go through things and that ultimately affects her decisions in life. And then she also goes through a trial where she's trying to find love. And so that also affects her decision making. That's what the book is about, just trying to make it and the choices she makes.
Myia, what kinds of readers did you have in mind for it?
All kinds. I figured it'd be for a young generation, but also the modern, grown adult, not really too mature, but still in the 40s, 50s zone that could relate as well.
So what was the inspiration behind this? What gave you the idea to start writing this?
Well, just watching how a lot of young adults that are just starting out live their life and some of the trials and tribulations they go through trying to get to full adulthood where they see the adult, mature adult, and they believe that's what they want, but don't know how to quite get there. Or in their mind, this is how you attain that.
So what does your writing background look like? Do you have experience in this kind of thing?
No, I don't. This is first published for me, but I have a few more books that I have written that are to be published. So I just wanted to get it out there and see what the tempo is and how readers would adapt to me.
So once you sat down, you started getting to work on Trying to Make It Today. Was this a long process overall, the writing and publishing and everything?
It was a long process. I really didn't have any expectations. So the publishing company was kind enough to guide me through it. And so it was kind of drawn out because, you have editing and then you have art and then the ultimate publishing and then getting yourself put out there.
So once you started working with your publisher, Newman Springs, what would you say was the most challenging part of that publishing process for you?
That would be, in my opinion, the editing process. And because I didn't want my reader to be drawn off of, I didn't want the editors to change my language. So that was a back and forth negotiation just to let them know that, hey, no, I do mean it this way. Or, yeah, okay, that's an idea of how to say it. So that went on for about a month or two.
I could only imagine what was going through your head whenever the first copy came in. You're holding Trying to Make It Today in your hands for the first time, Myia. What was that moment like for you?
That was surreal because no one had ever looked at my work before. I've written for a long time about my feelings, my thoughts, and what I see, but I never do anything with it. And so for someone to look at it and then critique me on everything, that was scary, but also a nice compliment that someone valued me. enough to help me along with it.
Well, again, this book is titled Trying to Make It Today. It's written by Myia Taylor and published by Newman Springs Publishing and available basically everywhere: Amazon, Barnes & Noble, iTunes, and traditional brick-and-mortar stores. Myia, it's been really wonderful talking with you tonight. Thanks again for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Sitting down with me again here at the ReaderHouse Author Roundtable is author Sharon L. Elam. Sharon, welcome back to the show. It's great to be talking with you again.
Thank you so much. It's good to be here.
Sharon will be talking about your new book, How We Love Each Other, A Brother and Sister's Love. So, Sharon, can you tell me what you've written about here?
This book is about my great-grandchildren, Harper and Warren, and their relationship with each other and how they love each other.
Sharon, what sorts of readers did you write this for?
I think this would be good for a family library, could be good for baby showers, birthdays, or holiday gifts, and actually religious schools, because it touches the heart of the people or parents that would be reading it to these children.
So how'd this come about, Sharon? What was your inspiration for writing it?
My inspiration for this book was my two beautiful little great-grandchildren, Harper and Warren, and I wanted to write about them and who they are and how they show their love for each other and what kind of family that they're growing up in, which reflects the parents modeling the kind of behavior that they are showing.
So once you got started writing this, was this a long process overall, the writing and publishing and everything?
The publishing takes the longest part, and I have learned to be very patient. It only took me about 2 or 3 months to write the book because once I got the ideas, I just kind of put them down, and then I had to figure out the type of illustrations that would go well with that. I conferred with their mother to get these ideas, and that's basically how I put the book together.
Yeah, the illustrations look great. Was that a smooth process?
Yes, because their mother, Amanda, was the one that told me, and then I would just, like Harper puts toothpaste on Warren's toothbrush for him, and so therefore that was an easy illustration. So when I sent it into the publishers, I had a list of suggestions of how to illustrate each one of the things that they were portraying and the relationship that they had with each other.
So what would you say was the most challenging part about the publishing process for you?
It's a long process. I'm a get-her-done kind of person, and so once I get it submitted, I just I'd love to have it done yesterday, but, I have learned that there are different processes at each stage that have to be looked at, approved, and reapproved, and refixed, and edited, and it just takes a while. And so, I've learned that that's part of being a new author. I had to get used to that process.
So now it's out there. What would you say is the most rewarding part of it all for you?
The fact that I'm getting at least 2 to 3 calls a week from different people that want to actually market my book for me. And I already have somebody doing that for me. So, I have to turn them down, but they seem to be very eager about doing it and saying that out of the points that people have done to review, I get 4.8 out of 5. And I was just really thrilled to hear that.
So looking ahead, do you see yourself writing and publishing more, do you think?
I have one in progress now. It's fun, and I find that these books are divinely inspired. And when the spirit moves me, I just sit down and I start writing again.
So what does it feel like, after all the time and effort you put into this, when the first copy comes in, you're holding your book in your hands for the first time? What's that like?
Well, I'm just really happy and very grateful that the project is complete and it turns out as beautiful as it does. And it just thrills me to see it and to hold on to it. And I get a big smile on my face.
Well, so many of our listeners right now are authors who are just starting out. Sharon, do you have some advice that you could offer them?
I never realized that I could write a book, and I've had people come to me and say, "Oh, I wish I could write a book. I should write a book," or "I want to write." I just tell them, "Well, then sit down and do it." I didn't think I could do it either, and you just go ahead and do it. You'll be surprised at what happens. It will just kind of flow. For me, it just kind of flows, and I would definitely encourage those thinking about it to stop thinking about it and start doing it, because they will be successful.
That's some great advice. What a wonderful book. Again, this is titled How We Love Each Other, A Brother and Sister's Love. It's written by Sharon L. Elam and published by Christian Faith Publishing. So pick it up at Amazon or Barnes & Noble or iTunes or right down the street at your local bookshop. Well, Sharon, it's been wonderful talking with you again here today. Thanks again for being on the show.
Thank you so much.
The new book just came out by author R.L. Dawson. It's titled Love Letter to God, My Personal Growth as a Christian. And the author, Bobby, is here with me now at the ReaderHouse Author Roundtable, and we get to talk all about it. Bobby, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Bobby, can you tell me what readers are going to be getting into whenever they open up Love Letter to God?
Well, it's subtitled My Personal Growth as a Christian. I have devotions in there that kind of, don't want to say detailed, but in the year 2023, I went through some pretty personal, difficult things, and a lot of those devotions reflect that. I like to think that it shows what God can do when you're going through trials. The first story in the book is called Best Laid Plans, and it's really what starts that period in my life. Some unfortunate events put me in a situation where it made for a difficult year in 2023, and I find myself writing about it. I mean, it also has poetry in it that I wrote and some stories about my childhood because I just felt like it would be good to see who I am, so to speak. And then Love Letter to God is the last story in the book. It was pretty much my personal testimony. So that's pretty much what they're going to read.
Bobby, what kinds of readers do you think this would connect with the most?
The struggling Christian, the one that's just starting out. Anybody would. I've had friends that say they benefited from it, whether they've been a Christian all their life or they're just starting out. But I think mostly it's the Christian that I've been a Christian pretty much all my life, but I never really devoted myself to God the way I have the last couple of years. And I think that's where if you come at it when you're just starting out as a Christian, and if you're struggling through things, it will help in that way. That was my prayer, that it helps those who God means it to help. I do want my book to sell, but I made the comment to somebody, if my book ends up in some thrift store somewhere that I'm not aware of and somebody picks it up and becomes born-again Christian, then my book is a success.
So how did this all come about, Bobby? What inspired you to start on it?
Wasn't a plan. The back of my book, my favorite Bible verse is Jeremiah 29:11, where I know the plans I have for you, because this book was not planned. I had the stories written and they were on my computer, but I never planned on doing anything with them. Some of the stories about my childhood and stuff. The devotion started out as things I would read in church. And then I made the comment to my music worship leader, I think I'm going to put a pamphlet together and just sell it for a few bucks and donate it to the church. He goes, well, why don't you just publish it? And that's where it started. That's how the book became a book.
Have you ever done anything like this before, or is this all kind of a new thing for you?
I have a poetry book called On Wings of a Dream. It never did anything. It was kind of a self-publishing thing, and I never really promoted it that well. It's just a bunch of poetry that I wrote, came out 16 years ago. But this is unique. I can't compare that to this because aside from maybe one poem that I have in there, it's not Christian-based. So this one was just a whole different experience that I enjoyed. And I'm writing another book too, by the way.
So once you got started on Love Letter to God, was this a long journey for you overall, the writing and publishing and everything?
The publishing process is a long one because I first submitted a manuscript, a little over a year ago. And I think we're coming to the end of it now, the process. The writing of it, most of it I wrote in 2023. I put together the manuscript about a year and a half ago, and then I just spent a couple of months rereading it to make sure it's the way I wanted it. It's been a fun experience. I learned a lot, and I think there will be some things I'll do better the next time around. So it's been an enjoyable experience.
I could only imagine then what was going through your head whenever the first copy finally came in and you were holding Love Letter to God in your hands, Bobby. What was that moment like for you?
Gratifying. Of course, I give all the credit to God. The next title of my book, I think, is going to be called Divine Partnership because that's the way I see this.
This book is titled Love Letter to God, My Personal Growth as a Christian. It's written by R.L. Dawson, published by Christian Faith Publishing, and available pretty much everywhere like Amazon and Barnes & Noble and iTunes and also traditional brick-and-mortar stores. Well, Bobby, thank you so much again for coming on the show and telling me about your work. It was really nice to talk with you tonight.
Thank you, and it was enjoyable. Thank you.
The new book by Samantha Holloway is an impactful memoir that reveals how God has always been there to guide her through life's challenges. It's titled God Hands. Samantha is sitting right here with me now at the ReaderHouse Author Roundtable. That's what we're going to be talking about. Samantha, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Samantha, can you tell me what you've written about in God Hands?
God Hands started off as just like a journal that I was actually keeping. It's actually a letter that I started writing to my kids when I got diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, and I didn't know what the outcome was going to be, because when I first got diagnosed, nobody never really explained and talked to me about the medical condition. So I wanted to write them something in my journal just to remind them that God is always there. Even though we go through things and we may not always see him or see his hand on our life, he is there.
Samantha, what kinds of readers do you think this would connect with the best?
It can connect with anybody. It's an easy read. I guess I can say it like that. It's an easy reading book. Anybody can pick the material up and read it, from kids, any young adults, anyone can read it.
So what was that inspiration that made you say, hey, I got to get this thing published?
It was my kids again. I would have to say them again as well, because I just wanted them to know, and not only them, because we all go through periods, no matter whether we just starting our journey with God or whether we've been on that journey for a while, and sometimes we may see things not happening the way we planned it, but it's to motivate or inspire anybody to keep going, like never give up, that he's always there with us.
So is this the first time you've been published then?
Yeah, this is my first one, but it's not the last. I'm actually working on 2 things right now. Yes, sir.
So was this a long journey for you overall, the writing and publishing, the whole thing?
Yeah, it was a pretty long journey. I think I started it when I was like 38 years old, like I said, when I first got diagnosed, and I didn't publish it until this year, the process. But it was an easy process. Covenant Books is the one that helped me out. So I would tell anyone, especially first time in it, or whether they done did it before, it was an easy process. They walked me through it. My editor was there with me the whole time, letting me know step by step what we had to do.
You said it went so easily. Was there anything you found particularly challenging about that?
The hardest thing for me was just trying to find the cover pages and things like that. And once I got through the process of finding like the cover design, which, like I said, they helped me with that, everything else was good to go.
I could only imagine what you were thinking and what you were feeling whenever the first copy came in and you were holding God Hands in your hands for the first time. What was that like for you, Samantha?
Oh, my God. That was a day that I'll never forget. It actually was the graduation day of my nephew. My nephew, I actually raised him since he was 2 weeks old. So it was his graduation day, and to get home and got that book actually in my hand, that really sealed my day.
So now you're published, your work is out there. What would you say is the most rewarding aspect of this all for you?
The most rewarding is just, I guess, when I do my book signing or when I do my little book deal or whatever, when I introduce it to my friends and family, because I didn't really yet. I'm trying to find the right time, and just for somebody just to come up to me and say, this book really helped me, even if it's just one person. I just want it to be impactful to someone, even if it's just one person.
So you said this came from a lot of journaling. So was writer's block or anything like that ever a challenge for you?
No, I don't know. For me, it comes easy. I've been journaling since I was a child. I always dealt with different challenges in my life. And if you pick up the book, it has that in the book about me journaling and the different things that I dealt with and went through. So journaling was something that the Holy Spirit, I guess God as well, led me to at a young age, but I never really thought about it until now. I still have some of those journals from high school.
So who or what would you say is the most inspirational for you, especially when it comes to your creative efforts like this?
I would say it's God himself. It's just, I look forward for my time with him. I set aside a certain time every day. It's not the same time, but I go through my day. I pin out my schedule for that morning starting off, and that hour that I set aside, I give that time to him, and I just look forward to what he's going to pour into me and inspire me to write.
Well, I love the message of hope in this book. Again, it's titled God Hands. It's written by Samantha Holloway, published by Covenant Books, and available pretty much everywhere, like Amazon, Barnes & Noble, iTunes, and traditional brick-and-mortar stores. Samantha, thank you so much for coming on the show and telling me all about God Hands. It was really nice talking with you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Joining me right now here at the ReaderHouse Author Roundtable is author Bernardo Bajit. Danny, welcome. Thanks for joining me tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Danny, your new book is titled The USA, Israel, Egypt, and the Apocalypse. So can you tell me what readers are going to find here?
Yeah, as you can see in the book title, it says Apocalypse, talking about the end times. The book explains in detail how nations were molded into what they are today and what will be their specific roles toward the end of the world. So basically, the destiny of the most powerful nations, has been determined from the very beginning through the Bible. There are talks nowadays that we're entering the end of the world. Well, indeed, we do. People nowadays are more curious about the events happening around them. Major powers clashing against each other, and especially the Middle East. We have the migration problems in Europe and the U.S. So this book basically provides answers to so many questions in the biblical perspective. We will be surprised to know that, we are just repeating the biblical history. This thought-provoking examination of the prophecies and the relation to the current and future events. Yeah, you may be surprised to realize that we are indeed belonging to the end of age, and 80% of the prophecies are belonging to our age as well. That's in a nutshell about the book.
Danny, what kinds of readers do you think that this would be best suited for?
It's for all readers, actually, who are searching for answers. However, the reader must need a good grasp of the biblical history, especially the first 5 books of the Bible. Then relate all this to the New Testament books. The author's part is just to fill up the many unknowns in the prophecies, connecting the dots by putting the Bible pieces together in harmony. So these are for the people who are interested in knowing about the prophecies in relation to our age and about the end of the world. So I think this is going to be very interesting, and they will be surprised later on how the Bible was able to tell everything from the very beginning about our age. So for people who are religious, who are searching about what the prophecies are telling about our age, basically it's for everyone, even for those looking for the true religion, and for those people who want to dig deeper into the faith and become more knowledgeable about the Bible.
So how did this come about, Danny? What was your inspiration to start this?
More than 30 years ago, I was probably in my early part of my career, my profession. I said to myself that if God is ever-knowing and powerful, there should be something written in the scriptures about our present generation. I was so very curious at that young age. After all, many nations are already firmly established in their defined boundaries, and yet nobody's talking about the prophecies about the end of age. Very little, I would say. We have the most powerful nations today, the U.S., the Europe. What is the Bible talking about them? There's so much missing link, and that interests me on how to, search the Bible deeper. And therefore, when I was 28 years old, I prayed to God to give me direction. One night, I prayed hard, from one night until dawn, I prayed for wisdom, and I kept praying. And then the answers to these prayers came slowly, bit by bit. Over the next 10 years, I slowly found the calling, and I put together my findings and published my first book. Because of curiosity, I tried to research and studied hard, reading story books, reading the Bible from cover to cover, and then I found out something that was missing in the theological studies. I have to fill in the gap, That's how I started.
So looking ahead, do you see yourself writing and publishing more down the road, do you think?
Oh, yeah. I continue to do research. As you know, I already written 2 books before this one. And each time there is a new revision to that, update from the first book that I have written. It's still the same topic, but I added new chapters to it and putting more facts based on what's happening as the years go by. Because this book, the first book, was written in 2011. So it's now 2025. So between those times, there have been new developments around the world. I tried to insert it and try to link these new events to what was prophesied. After a few more years, then I probably will write again additional topics to the book.
Well, again, this book is titled The USA, Israel, Egypt, and the Apocalypse. It's written by Bernardo Bajit and published by Christian Faith Publishing. So pick it up at places like Amazon, Barnes & Noble, iTunes, and right down the street at your local bookshop. Danny, thank you again for coming on the show. It was really nice to chat with you tonight.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Author Katherine Kordonec has written a new book titled A Home for Mr. Frog. And it's a charming story. We get to talk all about it. Katherine is here with me now at the ReaderHouse Author Roundtable. Katherine, welcome. Thank you for joining me tonight.
Wonderful to be with you.
Katherine, can you tell me all about what you've written in A Home for Mr. Frog?
Yes, sure. A Home for Mr. Frog is a story about a young frog who seems to be lost. He has lost his way because his home was taken away from him in a storm. And he searched for a long, long while to find a place where he could once more be amongst his friends and neighbors. But unfortunately, he had some trouble. In the end, he was very much surprised, and it was a wonderful surprise at that. So basically, I don't want to give away the ending of the story. You'd have to read the book, but that's basically the idea behind it.
Well, Katherine, what sorts of readers do you think this is best suited for?
Oh, I would hope to attract readers of all ages.
So how did this all come about, Katherine? What inspired you to start it?
I did, actually. I inspired myself. I felt that I wanted to share my life's experiences with my readers, as many as were willing to read my book, and that's how it all began.
So have you ever done anything like this before, or is this all kind of a new thing for you?
Actually, this is the first book I've published, but I do have intentions of publishing more stories that I've written.
So once you got started on A Home for Mr. Frog, was this a long journey overall for you, the writing and publishing and everything?
Well, actually, it's quite interesting. I started writing the story when I was 27 years old, and that was over 30 years ago. So realistically speaking, it took over 30 years.
So once you started working with your publisher, then Newman Springs, Katherine, what did you find the most challenging part about that publishing process for you?
The waiting. It was a long wait. There was a lot of work that had to be put into it, and it was very, very time-consuming.
I could only imagine what you were thinking and what you were feeling whenever the first copy finally came in and you were holding A Home for Mr. Frog in your hands for the first time, Katherine. What was that like for you?
I was excited. I was exalted. I also felt relieved because I waited for such a long time for this moment to finally arrive. And when it finally did arrive, I just felt so wonderful about the whole experience.
And so now you're finally published, your work is out there. What would you say is the most rewarding part of this all for you?
I would say to share my life's experiences, which were part of all my stories with all my readers, and to be able to share that for many generations to come.
So we have a lot of authors listening to us, and they're just starting out as well. Katherine, do you maybe have some advice that you could throw out there for them?
Oh, absolutely. Just go for it. Just do it. Come what may, no matter what, put all your energy and effort into making it happen and just do your best.
So while you were writing this, was writer's block or challenges like that things you had to overcome?
No, not really. It just came naturally, and whatever thoughts, feelings, experiences that I was going through at the time, I would just put it into words. I would just write it down, and it just flowed out of me.
So who or what would you say inspires you the most in your life, especially when it comes to your creative efforts like this?
I would say my children and other authors and their books and writings and stories that I've read about. Yeah, just about everything that I've lived through has inspired me, has inspired my writing. All life's experiences are an inspiration to me.
You mentioned other authors and books, and I've noticed so many authors I talk to, they also love to read. So would you call yourself a big reader?
Absolutely, without a doubt. Fictional mainly.
What a wonderful book. Again, it's titled A Home for Mr. Frog. It's written by Katherine Kordonec and published by Newman Springs Publishing. So find it at places like Amazon and Barnes & Noble, iTunes, and traditional brick-and-mortar stores. Katherine, thank you so much again for coming on the show. It was really great to chat with you tonight.
And thank you for this wonderful opportunity.
This book is a compelling tale of family, resilience, self-discovery, and uncovering hidden truths. It's titled Secrets, The Dream Continues. It's written by Sarah J. Cadore, and she's right here with me now at the ReaderHouse Author Roundtable. We get to talk all about it. Sarah, welcome. Thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Sarah, can you tell me what readers can expect whenever they get into Secrets, The Dream Continues?
Well, what they would expect would be, I would say, they would find lots of love. They'll also see the characters who not only love each other, but they fight for each other. For instance, Stella, she fought for her brother. No matter what, she made sure that he is actually okay. So you'll see love. You'll also see patience in that book. You'll also see the need to find one's self.
Sarah, what kind of a reading audience did you have in mind for it?
I have adults. It could also be read by, I would say, young adults and women.
So how did this all come about, Sarah? What was your inspiration behind writing this?
This is the second book in the series of 3. That's the second. I'll be writing a third. So it's really the continuation of the first one, which is The Dream. My intent was to tell the story, continue the story that I started out with in The Dream, because I think there is so much more that I wanted to tell about the characters. So that one is actually a continuation of what I started.
So once you started writing Secrets, The Dream Continues, clear up through the publishing process and everything. Was this a long process overall for you?
It was, because I took quite a while to complete it. My first book was actually published in 2016, and this one was published in 2024. So it's not that I was writing all along. I had to write I work full-time, so I practically wrote when I had the time to do so.
So once you had your manuscript ready and you started working with your publisher, Christian Faith, what did you find to be the most challenging part of that publishing end of things for you?
The waiting. It's like once you send it in, you want to say, oh, when is it ready? Is it ready today, tomorrow? When will it be ready? So I think the waiting is more or less the hardest part. But I had people who were very, how should I put it? They helped me along the way to understand that it's not just a process where you just start and finish like that. There are things that have to be done before you get to the end.
And then that day comes and it's finally a real thing. You get the first copy in, you're holding it in your hands, Sarah. What's that moment like?
It's like a hallelujah moment. It's like, here is my second book. I did it, It's a moment whereby you feel happy, not just for yourself, but for the people who are going to be reading that book and who would actually get motivated by it. So it's a moment where you feel happy and you feel, it's a sense of accomplishment.
So you're published now, your work is out there for the world, Sarah. What would you say is the most rewarding aspect of it all for you?
Getting it done. I know that sometimes the hardest part is starting, but once you start, there is this continuation where you know that you have to get it done. Sometimes it's hard to do so, but getting it done is quite an accomplishment.
Well, a lot of our listening audience right now is authors just starting out. Sarah, do you have some advice that you could offer to them?
One of my main advice would be, don't give up. If you have that dream to become an author, to write, it might take a while to start. It also might take a while, the process of continuing, but do not give up. Do not ever give up on that dream, no matter what. There will be obstacles, and those things we can overcome. As I normally say, there is light at the end of the rainbow at all times. So, why give up? Go through the struggles.
That's some good advice. Well, again, this book is titled Secrets, The Dream Continues. It's written by Sarah J. Cadore and published by Christian Faith Publishing. So pick it up at places like Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and iTunes, and also right down the street at your local bookshop. Well, Sarah, thank you again for coming on the show. It was really great to talk with you.
Thank you for having me, and you have a wonderful evening.
The new book by author Brent Hartman is titled Everyman. And we'll be talking about it right now here at the ReaderHouse Author Roundtable. The author, Brent, is sitting right here with me. Brent, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me on the program.
Brent, can you tell me what you've written about in Everyman?
Well, Everyman is really kind of an accident. I kept a journal owing to my parents' influence all through my adolescence and early adulthood. And it ironically turned out to be sort of fun to convert that into more of a story. And a book is what emerged from it quite by accident. I really never intended to make this anything professional or commercial. It was just supposed to be sort of a diary of what happened growing up. And the real main character in this book, even though Everyman is me, is the 1960s. And it was an interesting time. So as I showed it to some of my friends, they said, this might be worth reducing to writing a little more professionally. And we did.
So, Brent, what kinds of readers do you think this would connect with the most?
I think I'm really hoping that what I spent a great deal of time doing is trying to develop the texture of the times and talk about how, instead of just mentioning things that everybody else has about the 60s, Vietnam and the Beatles and all the stuff that everybody normally talks about, this is kind of the story of me as a high school kid going through the 60s. I was in a rock and roll band that ended up with a number 6 song in the United States. I was a fairly decent athlete in the state of Colorado. I was editor of our school newspaper. And it occurred to me as I was reducing this to writing that the opportunities in the 1960s were quite unique. I mean, there weren't nearly as many people. We hadn't gotten to be so sophisticated as a society. It was really quite amazing that somebody I would consider myself to have sort of average talent. I made a lot of money in rock and roll. I had some real successes in some other areas of life, and I don't think that's achievable anymore. And so what I tried to do was to just show how my walk through the day at high school and going into college gave me these opportunities and where they came from and how I developed them. And hopefully in conveying the texture of the 60s, my hope is that it's not just going to appeal to people at 75 years old like me, that were there. It's going to, I hope, appeal to kids who have heard a lot about this, but never really grasped how it all fit.
So how'd this all come about, Brent? What gave you the inspiration to start it?
My dad wrote a book called Dad's Diary about his experience. He was a greatest generation guy, and my mom and dad were both military people. And it ended up that his journal that he just wrote about his life, a very brief one, mine's longer, is now used by genealogists. And I get phone calls from them all the time, still, questioning certain things that he said in his little diary, because they've used it as a basis for some of their work. And, it dawned on me that he really did. He wrote that in an effort to try to acquire for our family settlers, descendant license plates in the state of Colorado. That's all he was trying to do. And it ended up becoming a work that is now used by genealogists across the country.
So have you ever done anything like this before when it comes to writing and publishing, or is this all kind of a new thing for you?
This is a first shot, and it probably shows, and it probably could be briefer, and it probably could be better. But what I did take some time to do was to try to really convey the texture. I mean, how did the student announcements in the morning, how did that fit in with where the Beatles were playing? And I went to leadership camp, and my father ended up going to the Beatles performance at Red Rocks instead of me because I couldn't use the tickets and, that kind of stuff.
Well, this is a fascinating memoir. Again, it's titled Everyman. It's written by Brent Hartman, published by Newman Springs Publishing, and available pretty much everywhere, like Amazon, Barnes & Noble, iTunes, and traditional brick-and-mortar stores. Brent, thank you again for coming on the show. It was really great to talk with you.
Well, thank you, Corey. It was fun talking.
We hope you enjoyed this edition of the ReaderHouse Author Roundtable, where authors from all walks of life come together to discuss the trials, tribulations, and triumphs of publishing their books. We hope to see you back here every Friday night at 8 p.m. or listen anytime via podcast at Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, and PodServe, to name just a few. The Author Roundtable is sponsored by ReaderHouse Online Bookstore, where independent new authors come first.